he did beat up on the attorney, the prosecutor. But the judge, so all that fuck the judge stuff, the judge actually was so fair and kind of issued probably the most fairest, sympathetic ruling we've seen of a defendant in a very long time. And I'm going to play this in full because this was very tense moments. Law and crime. And I got to give also Young Thug so much credit. I'm going to tell you why I'm giving him credit. Bro, if you've been locked up for 2 years, I don't know if I could tell my lawyer, or if I could go home today and be like, nah, tell him we turn it down. What? But he did turn it down, right? So here we go. Young Thug gives speech. He did give a speech at the end. Here we go. The attorney. Okay. So essentially, Young Thug does this plea, and then we're going to quickly get into what the prosecutor says, then what Young Thug's lawyer comes back with. They both got about, it's supposed to be like, I think 40 minutes or so, and then the judge rules.
Just as there would be from a conviction for transport a firearm, or if you use a firearm in a crime.
I'm going to skip through this a little bit. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but they started reading lyrics, and I thought, damn, yo, for anybody who are rappers, when you think about if you've been close to street activity or you really putting money on people's heads, and I know that your lyrics shouldn't be used against you, but lyrics are definitely used to contextualize, right? You can't get charged for your lyrics like it's an admission of guilt. But if they believe that a part of you promoting what they believe is a gang is you also singing about the activities of said gang, they're going to be able to use relevant lyrics that you're not charged with the lyrics, but it become contextual. When it came time for Young Thug's sentencing, they started reading out lyrics, and I said, damn, this sounds bad. Like, these shit don't hit without a, you know what I mean, Wheezy or Turbo, you know what I mean, cooking up a beat or Metro or something. Yo, Metro! Like, it don't sound the same. Listen to this.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Has anyone forced these charges after a trial? Do you understand?
Yes.
Has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter a guilty plea?
No.
Is it your decision to waive these rights and enter a guilty plea because you are in fact guilty?
Yes.
Well, Your Honor, may I interject?
You may.
Your Honor, on count one, which is the racketeering conspiracy count,
Here we go. Amazing lawyering.
Mr. Williams is tendering a plea under nolo contendere.
So he's tendering a plea. Now the judge could have came back and said, I'm not going to do this if you don't plead guilty. You got to plead guilty to racketeering. Now, again, this is where the civil situation comes in. If you were seen in the criminal sense and you pled guilty to using your funds to pay for criminal activity of this gang, anybody who got shot, robbed, had any impact from this gang, you could sue Young Thug. And you could use this criminal case and say, yo, the nigga pled guilty. Yo, my brother got shot by Quay or whoever. And this is the leader with the money. He pled guilty. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't sleep. My neck, my back, my belly, pause. I just can't. Yo, give me $3 million. They're not going to give you $3 million, but I'm pretty sure he's going to have to just do settlement after settlement, right? However, his lawyer steps in and says, hey, judge, we want to tender this nolo contendere plea, and we're hoping you take it. So if you would take the plea down for the racketeering shit as no contest, it means technically, by the way, they could still sue Thug, but they can't really use this case as a strong basis of his guilt because the racketeering acts is going to say, unless he did something to someone. If he slapped somebody, they can sue him. But the racketeering acts, they had him as the person who paid and ordered, right? So he says no contest, which means it doesn't say guilty or guilty, right? Which, again, just doesn't help civil cases to come.
As to count 56, which is participation in a criminal street gang activity as being a leader or a supervisor or organizer, Mr. Williams is also tendering a plea to this honorable court as under nolo contendere, the balance of the count, so he is tendering a guilty plea.
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am.
So for that one thing, nolo contendere, which is no contest. If you've been even municipal court, at times if you get a lawyer because they know certain convictions or you getting adjudicated as guilty will make you not, like, say if it's sometimes it's for drunk driving or whatever the case is. Sometimes they'll take a plea where you do no contest, right?
Would the court like to hear from the state or not?
About the NOLO issues?
Yes.
Sure.
Your Honor, the state asked that the court not accept a NOLO plea and require either a guilty plea or a not guilty plea as to these charges.
All right. I'm going to permit a NOLO plea as to counts 1 and 56.
All right.
Yo, you can ether. So for counts 1 and 56, so both of them, the judge permitted. By the way, because they, you know why also the judge is saying fuck you to this lawyer? You had over a year that you could have gave this nigga a plea. You didn't. Then we stopped court for like 4 days and y'all went back and forth and you could have figured it out there. Now y'all coming in court and now you want me to be on your side after you've been fucking him this whole trial? No, we're taking a nolo contendere plea, okay?
Mr. Williams.
Yo, you see that stare down? Ether. Look, ether. She rambling through paper like, oh shit. Look, that stare down? That stare down right here?
Mr. Williams. Activity, how do you
Okay.
plead?
I plead guilty.
In criminal street gang activity, how do you plead?
I plead guilty.
As to count 58, violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, how do you plead?
Guilty.
As to count 59, violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances
Yeah, these are the additional charges they gave him, essentially in the superseding indictment, but it's all good.
Act, how
These are light.
do you plead?
Guilty. NOLO.
Street gang activity under the leadership charge, how do you plead?
NOLO.
Yeah, he has to plead nolo, which means no contest, because if you plead guilty as being the leadership of the gang, damn it, you responsible for everything they did.
I think you didn't ask about count 62.
As to count, thank you, Your Honor. As to count 62,
Still helping the prosecutor.
possession of a machine gun, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Oh, never mind. So in this plea, and this is how you know this, the feds ain't coming. Feds ain't coming, Chad. Feds ain't coming. The nigga pled guilty to possessing a machine gun. So the gun, remember when they found guns in his crib? The nigga pled guilty. So they just threw it in there. So this is an amazing plea. Yo, you had a machine gun only sat 2 years? That's fire.
Are you pleading guilty to the offenses you have indicated because you are in fact guilty of these charges?
Yes.
All right. Are your guilty pleas and your NOLO pleas freely and voluntarily given with the full knowledge of the charges against you?
Yes.
Do you understand that you may have only a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes.
And
Okay.
seized, and that is
All right. So that's the plea. And then now listen to the prosecutor. This is where they start reading out the lyrics. You ready for
and
it?
read the rest of that into the record. An array of bullets on Mr. Thomas, hitting him, his Chevrolet Tahoe, and 2 other persons in the process.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The reason why Fulton County, from what I'm hearing on the ground, these are people there, reporters working it. I've spoken to a lot of them. People who are former law enforcement. They say, yo, we see you've been covering this case. I said, listen, let me tell you what's going on down here. This is a shit show. They said if you were there, that the mother of Donovan Nutt Thomas showed up to that court every day because she wanted to get justice for her son that got murdered. And she believed her son got murdered at the direction and at the hands and because of the funds of Jeffrey Williams. And even Woody admitted that or at least through Charleston White, I guess, because Charleston White said it. What he said every time he showed up to court, the mom of Donovan Nutt Thomas would just sit there and mean mug them every day, just looking like, you motherfuckers got my son killed. And even up on this sentencing day, damn near, the mom was there. Just, you got to imagine, that's kind of what court is, right? Like, you know what I mean? The family of the victim show up every day hoping that the person get death or something, right? That they could feel good. And they said that person showed up every day, including this day. And I thought about it and I said, you know, while we're stuck in fan land, right? Like fans didn't care. Fans wouldn't care if Young Thug murdered like 15 babies. Like, it's Young Thug, right? But like for the families of those people who are victims who are showing up, they're looking at the court and the justice system to say, will y'all give us justice? Y'all took this case. Y'all said these guys did this. We watched the whole proceeding. And essentially, they were describing the family of some of the people who were either shot or killed in the courtroom, mad as a motherfucker that the person that they claim killed their brother, sister, or not sister, brother, nephew, or son, essentially walked out of jail with 2 years in jail, and they were upset. And they were saying that the attitude was pervasive among the law-abiding victims that live in these communities. Cleveland Avenue, everybody who watched Cleveland become a crime zone and a war zone, because allegedly YSL was shooting that bitch up every day. They showed up because they want to see, will justice will prevail. But what was proven is that not everybody getting out of jail. You know what I mean? Cleveland back hot. That's all it means. So I heard those people were upset, and you know, you're going to see some op-eds about it. I see some of the reporters kind of buzzing and stirring about it. They're going to be writing up a lot about the future of the Fulton County DA strategy and trying to convince the community that they could police crime, because a lot of people believe that, you know, even if it wasn't for Thug, right? Like, yeah, maybe you say, all right, you know, it's just too hard to prove that Thug was a part of it. And this is why, like, people, like, no rich guy is going to do the murder himself, right? Like, you're going to pay this guy to tell that guy to do the murder. And you hopefully you fool them niggas with the no snitching shit. So if they don't snitch, you didn't do nothing. So you just remain free. But even the guys who were charged with murder, they all out. So all the murderers, allegedly, they're free. So again, from a fan perspective, we know Young Thug fans wouldn't care if he killed their mama, right? Like, they love Young Thug. But the people who live in these communities, they're mad because it's not only about Young Thug being held accountable. There's 28 other people or 27 other people that were charged with all these crimes that initially the prosecutor was saying there was like 100 murders, or there's been hundreds of shootings that they felt have been connected to YSL, and essentially nobody go to jail. So that's what those people are upset about, right? Anyway.
Mr. Thomas died from those bullets. Phone records show that communication was held between Mr. Williams, Mr. Kelvin Treadwell, Mr. Demise McMullen.
Okay, so they're just reading a bunch of stuff that these are the accusation. Obviously, they're reading stuff that they've already talked about in court, but just to remind the judge, let's get to the lyrics. The lyrics had me. Hear this.
Accomplice with the performance location of
Hold on. I just want to get to the lyrics.
on February the 22nd by a YSL associate, Stephen Harris. He was arrested at his home and a search warrant was issued between number. Mr. Williams responded, slat.
Slat!
After Mr. Williams stole a star ring from one of the victims in the indictment, he asked Mr. Williams.
Yo, Young Thug was keeping it chill. He's like, stole? Nigga, I ain't steal shit. Yo, Young Thug looked up like, nigga, I ain't no goddamn thief. Look.
Star ring from one of the victims in the indictment. After Mr. Williams stole a star ring from one of the victims in the indictment, he asked Mr. Williams, do you have a star ring? Mr. Williams said, yes. Mr. Huey said, slat, you can't cash at me $500 so I can make a payment to my lawyer. Mr. Williams responded slat. Mr. Huey